Okay, hey guys, Anime West Reacts here, skim reaction to Seraph of the End, chapter 112. So we start the chapter off, Grid and you going at it, both screaming. And then, yeah, Gurren goes to slash or do like a stabbing motion, you dodges downwards. Gurren's like, you're quick, and then he says, gotcha. Then he like thrusts the blade like really quick or like slices at him. And then we got chapter title. Chapter 112, Defining Family. So yeah, cover is younger you and Gurren. So yeah, he cuts through the Gurren. Turns out it was a Shikigami or something. And then Gurren comes up behind him saying, no, I've got you. And then he says an illusion. Mika says an illusion. You says, I thought so. Turns around and blocks. And yeah, we see Mika, something's happening to Mika, and he says, you watch out, the poison is way more intense than before. Clash a second time and we're done. So yeah, I can't clash again. And then Gurren's like, that was fast, you, but looks like today's another victory for... And then yeah, you gets all up in his face or like grabs his arm. And Gurren says, blah, and he says, no, it's over. It's not over yet. And so yeah, he's like holding Gurren's arm with one hand, and Gurren stops him, I guess, with another, something like that. Yeah. And you says, if we can't clash blades, then I'll just have to beat you. Like this, and like headbutts him. Gurren says, ugh. And he says, damn it, I gotta get him off me. And he says, Mahiru, and then you says, Mika, give me power. And so yeah, you see both of them, like, both of their like curse things on their hands, like flaring up. And then yeah, just going hand to hand while holding the swords. So yeah, you got Gurren holding one Yu's sword arm, and then Yu's holding Gurren's, and so Gurren knees him in the chin. He just says, "God," and he says, "Get off." And then Gurren says, "Get off." Yu says, "No." And then he says, "Off, never, off." Then everyone's kind of like looking, see everyone else is like looking on. Shinoa says, "Yuichiro," and then he says, "I'm not letting go, Gurren. Today I finally win, because if I don't..." And he says, "I said get off." And then Yu says, "If I don't win, you'll never lean on me." And then, yeah, then see Gurren kind of look down. You see Shinoa and Mika's reactions, and then he says, "That's why I'm gonna win. I have to beat you." And then we go into Gurren's inner world. We have Mahiru saying, "Aren't you going to dodge?" And then he says, And then she says, "You're going to let him win? If you want to bother trying, we have a dozen spells we can use to win." And he says, he's throwing his honest feelings at us. Is there a point to winning if it means getting tricky? And Mahiru says, I don't really see a point in losing, to be honest, or what? After coming this far, do you really want to lean on him? And he got a double page and says, do you want to give in and acknowledge his feelings for you? And he says, I'm so weak. And then she says, no, you're not. And she stops, says, no, you are, but that weakness that Shinya and I admire. You're an idiot who's not afraid to admit weakness while still trying so hard to save the world. And then she just tells him, do whatever you think is best. And yeah, Gurren's down on the ground. It's like, geez, I'm tired. He says, I win? And he says, yeah, good. Answer me, Gurren. Was it you who murdered my family? And he says, yes, I did. I'm sorry. Okay. And yeah, Yu makes a face, or like grits his teeth kind of face. And then Mika says, you. And then he like looks up. And he says, I forgive you. And then Gurren says, why? And then he says, it wasn't altruistic. I had them killed for selfish reasons. And then Yu says, oh. And then Gurren says, you're clearly the victim. And then Yu says, oh. And then he says, but. None of that matters because the two of us are family too. Can rely on us, so do it, right, guys? Yeah. And then, so Yoichi says, oh, right, Yuichiro said it. And then Shinoa says, Lieutenant Colonel, Lieutenant Colonel, Lieutenant Colonel. Like, all of them say it. Then, they all put out their hands to do, like, the whole stack hands thing. And then he says, you aren't alone, Gurren. Take our hands. And then Gurren flashes back to Shinya and his old squad. And then he's like, shut it, stupid you, and reaches his hand out. And then, nice. Kind of reconciliation thing. Then we go over to the truck, see Ferret, and he says, we're following their plans, so that makes us family too, Cruelty. And then Curl's like, say that again and I'll kill you. And then Ferret's like, oh, come on, don't be so shy. And then she does. Don't be so shy. And then, you just see, like, Ferret's head go flying. And then, Crowley's like, yep, you got killed all right. And then Ferret's like, wow, watching them really reminds me of how alone I've been my whole life. And he's just like, to Crowley, could you pick me up? And then he says, hey, guys. He picks up his head and says, hey, guys, now that we're all one big family, time for us to get on the road. And then he says, Gurren. And then he says, yeah. He says, we're family, so the problem, we'll all solve it together. And he's like, I hear you, I hear you. And he says, so what's been weighing on you this whole time? Can you tell us? No lies either, got it? And then he's then like, well, no, lie if you want. I'll still believe you. I'll still believe it as if it's the truth. Because I decided you're my family. And then he says, and Gurren looks at him, says, if we're stuck living in this crummy world and are all doomed to die eventually anyway, I want to go out having faith in my family. And then Gurren says, okay, I'll tell you the truth. So good chapter. Hope y'all enjoyed this reaction. If you did, I think it was a pretty good chapter, actually. Kind of just Gurren and you reconciling after fighting a bit. But overall, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, comment down below if you enjoy this reaction. Let me know your thoughts on the fight, basically. I liked the way it ended. But hit that notification bell, like the video, share it, subscribe, all that stuff, and I'll see y'all next time. So